We all have moments that completely transform our lives in ways we never expected. We also get on the hamster wheel and just keep beating at the thing we love until something happens. And that's exactly what happened with my next guest, Nicole Nixon. Listen and watch on BeautyPro TV how Nicole changed her life, career, and more, and it was all by accident. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Christine Sherwood, the Beauty Pro Coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the Beauty Pro Coach podcast.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited.
If you loved this episode,
is Nicole Nixon,
subscribe to the
girl.
Beauty Pro
Tell
podcast
everybody.
on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
So you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback, so I can continue to bring the content you
Nicole,
deserve
how did
and want
we
most.
How did we connect? Like, how did this happen?
The more you give,
I
the
think
more
that
you
we,
get back.
I mean,
You
I
can
think
follow
we've
me
connected
at
like
The
over the
Beauty Pro
years.
Coach
Like I
on
started my
Instagram
business in
and
2020.
Facebook.
And so I think we've
Wanna
communicated
contact
a
me
couple
directly?
times, but
Email me
I
at
don't know what it was
befree@goldenreefcoaching.com.
specifically.
I don't remember.
But we're like, let's do this. I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's go.
I love, like, even like the story we were talking about just before we got on, and like now, like that's just how like life happens. Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love Instagram. I really do.
I know. And I feel like it's such a great opportunity to just like chat with other people in the industry, especially when you work from home and you work by yourself. A lot of times it can feel really isolating.
Yeah.
So I think these kinds of conversations are really fun because you get to just chat and talk about life and business and all kinds of fun stuff.
Exactly. Okay, so you were okay, let's just like rewind. So you are Nicole Nixon.
I am.
What do you do? How did you get there? Why are we here? Like, let's
Okay.
do that.
Okay. So I'll try to like make a very long story shorter. So I started doing I was going to junior college as like a young person. I had no idea really what I wanted to do. And one day my best friend who I was going to school with was like, I'm gonna go to beauty school. And I was like, can I curse on here?
Yes, girl. Be
Okay.
real.
Okay.
Be raw.
Okay.
Do your thing.
I was
Do
like,
your
fuck
thing.
you. You can't leave me here by myself. What do you mean you're going to beauty school? And so I was like, at that point in my very young life, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm going. So like, sure, maybe we try beauty school, which was nothing I could ever considered before in my life. And so I did it and it kind of came natural to me. I was like an okay hairstylist. I was never going to be anything like amazing. Um, and so I did hair for a couple years and then I had my daughter in 2005. And then I like immediately became a single mom. So I was like, great. Now I have to take care of both of us. And
Really
so
good.
I really needed something with a little more stability. And so I was looking for jobs and Sexy Hair has had their corporate office in Chatsworth, which was like 10 minutes away from where I lived. And so I was like, I'm going to apply to this receptionist position because like, who knows? Maybe they'll see my background and be like, oh, well, she is a hairstylist. She'll like get the industry. And so I applied for the receptionist job and I got a call from the director of education and she was like, what are you doing? Why are you applying for this job? And I just said, like, honestly, I felt like it was a foot in the door. I told her my situation and I was like, I'm just looking for something with some more stability than being behind the chair. And she was like, okay, well, would you like this other job that we have open, which is managing our advanced academy? And I was like, yes, ma'am. Thank you. I would like that job instead. And so that was like honestly the beginning of my career on like this side of the industry.
Okay.
I had no idea like any of this stuff existed. I was like, sure, I can do that. I had management skills. I had been managing the salon I was in.
Yeah.
And so I worked for Sexy Hair for 8 years and then I moved and I worked at a couple other companies. And then in 2017, I was fired from what I at the time thought was like the dream job. It was the job that I had wanted most out of any of the jobs I had had. And,
Yeah.
looking back, like it was never going to work. It's like
Yeah.
relationships. You think you want it at the time, and then you look back
Yeah.
and you're like, girl, that was dumb.
Okay, but you know what? Like just a quick pause. Like, doesn't it suck to say like, yeah, I got fired? Like,
You
but then
know,
at the same
it
time, you're like, I got fired.
at the time it was really hard. Like
Yeah.
it was very hard on
Yeah.
my confidence, and like I was like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? I still had this kid I had to take care of. I had to take care of myself. And so luckily I have so many connections in the industry
Yeah.
that I almost immediately jumped into consulting for other brands. And so
Okay.
it was like my in between freelance time where I was consulting for, I worked at DeautyPro for 18 months and I consulted for Bossie Professional Strength. And so before I started this business, I was already kind of on my own, which was great because I had a ton of freedom and I got to work with different kinds of brands. And I got to expand outside of education, which was my main focus at Sexy Hair and Color Proof and the other brands that I was working for.
Mhm.
And so I got to do things like art direction, I got to do social media, I got to do marketing, I got to really like expand my skills. And then the pandemic happened and nobody knew what was going to happen. And so I decided if there's been if there's a perfect time to start a business, it's during a global pandemic. I mean, when else do you put everything on the line?
Yeah.
What could I lose? I mean, I was already unemployed. So
Yeah,
it
everybody's
was
like
like
dead.
I had no
Yeah.
contracts with any brands. So I was like, what's the harm? Really, what's the harm? I was going to
Yeah.
spend a little bit of money to invest in, figuring out how to do it. And then I just started working for free. I started doing brands for people and I was like, I'll do your brand for free. Please share it. Like I just needed
Yeah.
people talking. I needed
Yeah.
chatter. I needed people talking about what I was doing now because I still had all of those connections and luckily they were all very gracious in helping me try to build this business. And so
Mhm.
then I started doing them for $500 and then I started doing them for $1,000 and I just 5 years later have built a business that has helped God, I think now over like 200 hairstylists build their brands, build
Oh my
websites,
God.
launch things like and honestly, like I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just did it.
I
And
love
that's my
that.
story.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
it's wild to think back and think of
Okay,
how I got here.
like so many like explosions, right? The first explosion was, oh my God, it's been 5 years since
I know.
COVID.
I
That's
know.
crazy to
It
me.
feels
Okay.
like no time at all and it feels like 100 years all at the same
Yes,
time. Yeah.
totally. Oh my God, 5 years. Okay, so
I
there's
know.
that. Then the other thing that I just love is like I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it and now I'm paying my
Yeah.
bills. Like,
Honestly, and at the time, like, yes, we were getting some money from, Uncle Sam, and that's great. So
yeah,
I
but like
had, I
twelve
mean,
hundred dollars,
it
like
wasn't a lot.
okay.
So yeah, and I didn't really have a ton of money saved. I was really
Yeah.
like betting on myself. I was
Yeah.
really like, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna work because it has to.
Mm.
And that's really been my mentality throughout my entire career. It's been oh, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to say yes to it anyways, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to be able to do it. I mean, I literally have done that every single career, every single company I've worked at. People have been like, "Oh, can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And then I Google and YouTube the shit out of it, and then I figure out how to do it, and then I do it. So I think that if there's anything about my career that has like been the same, it's been the fact that I have just like figured shit out as
I
I
love
went.
that. I love
Yeah,
that. Have you ever gotten into any like, oh shit, like I really don't know how to do this?
I think about one of the very first like big things I had to do at Sexy Hair was go to a sales meeting. And it was like a big company wide, actually, I think it might have even been like distribution. So it was like all of these people from Salon Centric. And I didn't think I was going to have to do anything. I thought my boss was just like taking me to like experience it. And then we get there and she's like, okay, so you have 15 minutes to talk about the academy. And I was like, what? What do you mean?
What are you
And she
talking
was like,
about?
"Yeah, I didn't want to scare you." Okay. I am a prepared person. I'm a
Yes.
Capricorn. I like to prep. So this was not fun. So I feel like that to me immediately stands out as like something where she really did push me into the deep end. But I also like, again, I did it. I was fine. I probably was like sweating and like bright red the whole time, but I did
Sure.
it. And so I honestly can't think of any other time where I was like, I got myself in a pickle by saying yes to something because I always just like managed it. Or I had
Yeah.
people around me that I knew were better experts than I was, and I could
Right.
kind of tap them in. Which is such an amazing part about this industry is like everybody has such unique talents and working in corporate America and then also knowing all of these incredible hairstylists, you have such a like amazing Rolodex. Oh God, do people know what Rolodexes are anymore?
Oh my God, you're
Like
right.
roster of people.
Roster. Let's go
What
with roster.
what
I'm over
word
here like,
should I use
yeah.
instead?
Yeah. These sorry kids.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, I mean, you have like all of these incredible people that all have such amazing talents, and I've been really lucky to just like call them all like friends and colleagues, and
Yeah.
so I never really got stuck.
I
Knock
love
on,
it. You're like a
knock on.
natural, yeah, really. You're like a natural born like collaborator.
I think so. Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
think that I guess I should say yes and no because I do really like my one of my I guess downfalls is that I'm bad at delegating things. I
Oh,
take on a lot, but I also do really like collaborating with people. I like the
yeah.
creative process and I like working with people and hearing their ideas.
Yeah.
But there is a part of me that is like, I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah, like I'll just do it. Just leave
Yeah.
me alone. I'll do it. Would you say that with all of that, is that like a fake it till you make it, or is that more like just get it done? Just push yourself.
I feel like it's a little bit of both. I don't
Okay.
know if I would consider it like faking it because I did it. I mean, I knew
Right.
I was actively participating in the I'm just gonna say yes and figure it out later. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's become like the phrase for like just getting it done. But I think there is an element of knowing that you have to put in the effort
Yes.
and sometimes you have to do things that maybe you're not getting paid for.
Mm,
Maybe you're going above and beyond. Maybe you're doing something that like wasn't expected of you, but now it's something that you can really shine at and you can take something on and be like, "Oh, by the way, I also did this thing for you." I feel like
hmm.
that's something that is again one of those things that has got me where I am because I was willing to do things for free. And even in this business now, if there's somebody out there that like I really um like respect and I really would love to work with them and I see that they're doing something, like I will still to this day be like, "Hey, I would love to make your graphics for this event." Like no charge, just like I would really love to be a part of it. And it is in a way it is self-serving because like yeah, of course I would love to work with them and yes, it's going to help me in the long run, but at the end of the day, it's also like I just want to be a part of things that I'm really excited about. And
Yeah.
so like you have to really be willing to do that. If you want to get to a point where you're like where you're at a level where you don't have to work for
Yeah.
free, you should still be throwing your hat in the ring and being like, yeah, no, I'll do it for free, no problem.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. That was really inspiring for me. Um, yeah. I mean, I'll just be real, right? Like, I'm not getting paid for this podcast. Like, I do
Yeah.
this podcast because it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
I
I
think,
mean?
and it's about creating community in the
Yeah.
industry. It's about talking about things that maybe don't get talked about. And like, yes, it still benefits you in the long run. I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs.
It's okay.
Um, like it still benefits you, even though if you're not getting like a paycheck from this
Right.
podcast, there's still so many benefits to doing it. And I think that's something that maybe we should try to like reinstill in our industry is just this idea of doing things because they're going to help you in the long run. I'm not saying you have to
Yes.
like always do things for free. And there is a
Right.
point where you're like, no, ma'am, I get paid for this now.
Mm,
But I mean, I think that it's something to consider that
yeah.
there are ways to advance your career if you're willing to
Mhm.
do something free.
Yeah. No,
Those are some key
I totally agree with this. I am loving this. I'm thinking about some of my staff, like
Oh,
there's a
my light
time
just
in
turned on its own.
hey, like
Wow. Hi.
I'm just like it's just there's a time and place to do the free things. And I feel like it's a good idea to always keep that keeps you humble. Like, oh
It
man,
does. Yeah.
and it doesn't limit you. I really love that. Thank you for sharing that.
can I turn this light off real quick?
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, you look crazy. Thank you. Okay,
Better?
that's fine.
Okay. So with all of that crazy going on in your life, right? The pandemic, the kid,
Yeah.
the bi husband, boyfriend, whatever. How were you, if at all, nourishing yourself through that process?
I don't think I was, to be honest. And I mean,
Okay.
I think a lot of not just moms, I think a lot of
Mhm.
women that are
Right.
trying to create a career for themselves and do something that maybe society is telling them that they shouldn't do, or just like
Mhm.
kind of like elbowing those boundaries a little bit. I
Mhm.
think that I was just so dead set on getting it done. And I knew
Mhm.
that like so many people were depending on me. And I see so many,
Yeah.
like my daughter, like my family is really small. It's like my
Mhm.
daughter and my dad and
Yeah.
I. And so,
Yeah.
but like I felt pressure to like
Mhm.
keep everybody going. I really wanted to create a life for my daughter that didn't make her feel like she only had one parent.
Mhm.
And that was really important to me. And even though there were times where I was gone a lot, I used to travel a lot with sexy hair.
Mhm.
So there would be like times where I might be gone for a week, and she was still in elementary school during that time. And
Mhm.
so there were times where I was really worried that like this would turn into resentment.
Yeah.
Um, and I, and she probably would tell you like, yeah, it sucked. But I think
Mhm.
looking back, she recognizes like why I did it. And I think
Yeah.
that she now sees everything. Like she never went without. If she
Right.
wanted to play a sport, she played the sport. If she wanted to go on a field trip, she went on the field trip. Birthdays were always a huge thing. Like I really tried to make it, I tried to make it feel like she wasn't being raised by a single
Right.
mom, even though like
Right.
single moms are incredible.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't really think that there was a time where I was like focusing inward on
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
I'm definitely doing that more now. She's
Yeah.
19, she has since moved
Okay.
out, she's living on her own. And
Okay.
so there's a little bit extra time for me. And so, and like I don't do, I mean, I love to read, I love to learn. I just think that there's time when it's like I just need quiet. I just need
Yeah.
quiet time to myself. That to me is like very that helps me re-energize a lot. So yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think that there was a time until like recently where I was like, okay, girl, you need to just sit. Just sit down.
Just sit down. Just sit down and breathe. No, I
Yeah.
love that. And I gotta say, like, as a daughter of a single mom as well, like,
Yeah.
it's you learn things about yourself, and and you see your people before you, and then when you get older you see, wow, they're human
Yeah.
too, and they're just like me, and like, wow, we're doing the damn things, and this is
Yeah.
great, and like, wow, I mean, it goes to the other side where you think you don't need anybody, but this is like, so there's that. And then the other thing is, being in our industry, you don't even look like you have a like 19-year-old daughter. I mean, my
Oh,
mom
thanks.
doesn't either. Like, she looks like my
Thanks,
sister.
thanks.
It's perfect. No, but it's not even about that. It's about like, damn, we're freaking fly.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting because, you think about like I just turned 44 in January. And so I remember being at a point where like I thought I was so old in my early 30s, and I was so scared to be in my 40s. And now I'm like, I wish, I mean, this always like everybody is like, God, I wish I had known then what I know now.
Right.
Um, but it's such a time for like self-exploration and like
Yeah.
figuring out what really makes you happy. And the things that you really thought were important are just like not that important anymore. And I think that's what's really interesting about being like in your 40s, especially when your like whole business is kind of built in social media and you're in this world where a lot of people are much younger than you.
Yeah.
It can be really challenging to like stay who you are and like still really love yourself for at the age you are. And
Mm-hmm.
as you continue to age, and everybody else still looks so young, I think it's important to recognize all of the things that you have brought with you at this
Yeah.
stage, and like you just continue to learn and continue to grow. And to me, that's what's really important. And that's what I try
Mm-hmm.
to instill in her, I mean, she's 19, she's trying to figure it out what she wants to do, but she's such a hard worker. She really cares about the people in her life, and she's such like a good person. Like I call her my good little egg because she's just such a good
Oh,
egg. And so I think that a lot of who she is from the experiences that she
yeah.
had growing up. But she has made them her own, and she has created her own life, which is like every parent's dream. You want your kid to grow up and just be like a good human. And so I must have, I think I did a good job.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, so just for some clarity, because I know you said it, but we're like talking about big things. You help hairstylists with their branding.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, social media or like, yeah, just clarify.
So I do a lot of different things. When I started, I was doing like brand design, website design,
Mm-hmm.
and strictly like visual identity, logos, colors, fonts, like kind of the basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I have grown my business and as I have kind of expanded into different things, I'm really focused more on how do we create like a holistic approach to your brand, and how do we not only make it look really good, but how do we make you more confident showing up? How do we create something that feels really really authentic, and so it just is easier to do. I think a lot of times hairstylists, I don't think I know, and we see it every day, is like hairstylists are all looking at each other all day long.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching each other. Everybody's looking at
Yeah.
what everybody else is doing. And it's really easy to feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing because that's what everybody's doing is just
Mm-hmm.
kind of mimicking and like being little lemmings. And I don't say that with like, I don't want to be hateful or hurtful, but
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of what's happening. And I feel like there's a lot of reasons why that happens. Is number one, like we just don't know. Hairstylists are not
Right.
taught how to be entrepreneurs. They're not taught how to run businesses. They're not taught how to create a brand.
Right.
Like beauty school just kind of like kicks you out the door and is like, peace out. Hope you
Mm-hmm.
make it. Hope this whole thing
Right.
works out for you.
Yeah.
There's not really any foundational education when it comes to, okay, how do you run your own business? How do you become an entrepreneur? I think a lot of hairstylists get out of school and they think, I'm just going to go into a suite or I'm going to go rent a booth and it's going to be easy. Well, like it's actually really not. Being an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur is 24/7, 365 days a year. Like being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur is not a 9 to 5 job. And so I think that that's like a misconception that people have when they decide to be on their own. And I don't really think there's a right or wrong way to do things. I think that every hairstylist
Mm-hmm.
experience and journey is like so different
Yeah.
that I don't if you want to jump right in, like do it. If you think that that's what you can do, that's great. If you feel like you want to go into a commission or a chain salon, like I don't think there is one way to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that hairstylists that decide to be on their own need to accept the fact that, like, okay, welcome to entrepreneurship. Like, here's what it
Right.
is. And that's just not something hairstylists are prepared for. So I think there's that. I also think that there's a lot of insecurity in showing up and letting people see who you are. And I can attest to this myself, like starting a business and having to like immediately be like a social media presence was so foreign to me. Like I didn't really like it. I was very uncomfortable with it. Even though I could get up on a stage and present in front of 200 people, I could teach, I would do trainings for hundreds of
Yeah.
people and it was no problem. I mean, I was obviously nervous, but like there was no problem doing it. But like this felt so different to me, and I really had to figure out like what felt right. And
Mm.
it takes time and it takes experience and it takes trying things out and
Yeah.
realizing what works and what doesn't. But there is a lot of insecurity and there's a lot of fear of judgment. And so
Mm.
people look around and they go, "Oh, well, that really big hairstylist, influencer, educator, whatever, is doing this kind of thing. Maybe I'll just do that thing too." And I think there's some safety in like just choosing what other people are doing. And then there is a very small sliver of the world that's just like, I'm just going to copy because I can.
Mm.
So I think that's why we end up with an industry that all kind of looks and feels the same.
Mm.
And I think it's really hard to like be yourself is what I'm getting at here. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that I really try to help people understand is like we can look at trends. Like we can look at what
Right.
the industry is doing. If you really like this thing, okay, well there's 50 other hairstylists doing it. So like maybe we can try to do it in a different way. Maybe we can try to
Mhm.
make it yours. And how can we do that? Is it through your
Right.
visuals? Is it through your messaging? Is it through the content that you create? Like how
Mhm.
can we take this thing that you're really into and still make it something that helps you stand out? And I think that a lot of times people are just like, oh, I thought I was just supposed to do what I was supposed to do that. Like that was what everybody
Oh,
else was doing.
yeah.
So yeah, for me, I think my business has really evolved into like a much broader approach to branding for hairstylists. And it's not just like what happens behind the chair, but do you want to launch something like education? And like, how do we get you from being a hairstylist, attracting clients to being a hairstylist, educator, now attracting other hairstylists? You have a
Mhm.
product idea, you have something physical you want to launch. Like, what does that look like? How do we get it made? Right now, I'm working with several different hairstylists, kind of turned brand founders who are focusing on extensions or like
Nice.
creating physical products. And it's a really hard thing to navigate. And so for me, it's like having people around me that are experts in things that I can tap into, like I mentioned earlier, just like people that are really good at packaging or really good at systems or really good at like sales funnels. And then all of us kind of collaborating together
Yeah.
to help hairstylists build something gives them that helps them reach their goals, whatever those goals are. At the end of the day, like we all just want to find our own success. And that at the core of what I do is like the most important thing.
I love it. I love that. Yeah, that's a very good point. Like we can look at the trends, but we don't have to do the trends.
Right.
Like and it's more about, well, who are you and who do you want to be and
Yeah.
why? It's the
Right.
same it's always the same questions, the who, what, where, when, why, and how, like every
Yeah.
time.
And I think that this, like the why thing is really hard for people.
Yeah.
And I get it because there could be a lot of that thought process or thinking of like, oh, okay, I do the same thing everybody else does. I do color, I do hair cutting. Like, are we really that different? Well, yeah, you are. I mean, what do you do? What do you
Mm,
do? And even if you're doing something that might seem similar, like your brain is thinking about it in a different way. And
mm-hmm.
so, and a lot of it is just like point of view of what you're choosing. Like, why did you choose to do that thing for that client?
Right.
And how can you infuse that point of view into the things that you create for your brand? And how can that help you become a brand that stands out? I think you look at our industry and there are very recognizable people that like when you see their work, immediately you know it's theirs.
Mm,
But that comes from like years of honing in your style and your point of view
right.
and becoming known for something. And it doesn't happen overnight. I think it's always a work in progress. I'm sure even those people are like, I'm still learning. I'm still
Yeah.
figuring it out because
Yeah.
even the people that look like they have it all together, they like none of us really have it all together.
Right. No. And whoever says that they do,
Yeah,
no, please. I
liars.
pulled total liars. Like I pulled a stint at Victoria's Secret, okay? And the joke was if your bra and your panties match, you have your life together. I can tell you that happens to me every once in a while, and I'm still a wreck. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah. So whatever. With that being said, I know as beauty and barber pros, we have a lot of passions, right?
Hmm.
Like we love working behind the chair, but we also love, I don't know, like snowboarding, and we love, the trees, and we love saving
Right.
the whales, and like all these things, and art and crocheting and doing all these things. What would your advice be to kind of marry all of your passions, everything you are outside of the salon, to explode your brand in the salon?
So I think that for me, it's important to understand like what your goals are, right? What are your
Mhm.
goals for your business and who are you trying to like connect with?
Right.
For me, if you're a hairstylist and your goal is to attract new clients, like
Mhm.
I have never been to a hairstylist that I wouldn't have drinks with, or I wouldn't have a
Right.
coffee with. Like
Okay.
I want to go to a hairstylist that I like, that
Mm.
has similar values that I do,
Mhm.
where we think about the world in the same way,
Right.
maybe. And I don't think I'm unique in that way. I think that
Yeah.
that's where people and I think a lot of people that work outside of the industry think that their hairstylist is like the coolest fucking person that they know.
Oh,
And
yes.
so
Oh,
that,
yes.
I think that alone is like a reason for people to share who they are
Yeah.
and what they do and what they believe in. Now, I think there's ways to do it. I think that for me, I believe in creating an aesthetic for your brand that is consistent and
Mm.
always looks like you. Now, does that mean it has to be like perfect and buttoned up all the time? No, but I think that it's showcasing you and your work in a way that like people know it's you, and so maybe that means that you're focusing on your personal life stuff or sharing the things that you like to do outside of work in stories. And it's more
Mm.
of that like casual, like day in the life kind of thing. Or you can do day in the life and maybe you went to work and then you crocheted in the evening and you read your favorite book, and you're kind of showing people what the whole day looks like. And because you're a multifaceted person, like you're not just a
Right.
hairstylist 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
And so I think that there are ways to share who you are as a person, and it's actually part of the process that I go through with people when they come to me to help them with their brand is like, okay, what are your values? Like, what do you believe in? What is important to you? And then how can we instill those values into every part of your brand, whether it's your visuals or your messaging or
Yeah.
the choices that you make in the salon? I think it's really important for people to know where you stand. And that
Mm.
doesn't mean like you have to have like crazy hot takes. It doesn't mean you have to
Right.
get controversial, but I do think that there is something to be said for just like telling people who you are and where your boundaries are. That's really important.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's like finding the right mix of
Mm.
personal content and business content. And I think that it's important to always have that like umbrella mentality, is like looking at things from like a bird's eye view. Does everything kind of feel like it lives in the same universe? Like
Mm.
if I were like a comic book universe, would it all kind of look like it all belonged in the
Right.
same world? And that's where I think people get stuck, is like they don't know how to make all those things come
Mm.
together while they're sharing their personal life and sharing their business life.
Yeah. Oh man, this is such a good episode. I'm so excited.
Yay.
I myself am like learning too, so it's good. What's a common myth that you get about what you do?
I think a common myth is that like your visuals are the first thing, like you have to have brand visuals before you do anything else. And it's
Mm.
actually the opposite. Like your visuals are the thing that tells all of the other stuff. Like your
Mm.
visuals are telling the brand story before people like get an opportunity to like read or listen or do anything else. To me, it's you have to first figure out like who you are. Like what is this thing that you're doing and why are you doing it? And like
Mhm.
yes, it could be I'm here to make money. Like that's fine. Like that's a great why, but it can't be the only reason why you're doing this. I think that
Right.
there has to be this like internal work that has to happen, because a lot of times people will come to me and they'll want to work on brand strategy, and I'll ask them those things and they won't know. And I'm like, okay, I this is the part that I can't help you with. Like I can help you put it together. I can help you create messaging. I can help you create visuals that tell these things to your audience, but I can't create the vision for you. You have to have the vision. You have to come to me with the vision and the
Right.
why, because that's not something I can do for you.
Oh,
Because
that's so
I
beautiful.
um and I think that's hard for people. And so that I think is a misconception. I also think that like there's no amount of like perfect your logo, your fonts, your colors, like they're not going to save your brand.
Mm.
Investing in expensive branding when you don't know the other stuff is like you might as well just like throw it in the bin. Like throw it, it's not. And I say that as somebody who like makes my living off of
Yeah.
this, but I truly think that there is so much like there's so much internal work that needs to get done
Yeah.
before you should invest in something like custom branding. Like, yes, you need those things. You need logos and fonts and colors and all of those pieces. But I think there's a lot of ways to like DIY before you
Yeah.
get to the point where you're like, okay, now I know who I am. Now I know what I want to show up as. And now I'm ready to invest.
Yes. Ooh, have you turned people away because they don't know
I
their vision?
I have turned like there's been like two people that I just was like, I don't think you're ready. But I think the
Mm,
majority of people are able to, and I'm not saying that like we can't figure it out together.
right.
There has to be some kind of like baseline understanding of like who you
Hmm.
are and kind of what you want this brand to be, what your
Hmm.
goals are. That's really important. So I don't just like kick people out because they don't know those things. It's like, okay, but are you
Get your
willing to
act
kind of,
together.
yeah. We can figure this out together, but it's also again, I can only do so much for you at the
Yeah.
point where like there has to be a partnership in that part of the process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come back to me when you have done some 5 years of therapy, and
Yeah.
then we can
Or
brand.
maybe or maybe it's like maybe we change the start date of your project to a month from now or 2 months from now.
Right.
And maybe you take that time to really figure it out and then we
Yeah.
can get started then. Because I do think that people just think that it's the visuals. I want the
Yeah.
pretty pictures. I want the fancy logo. And like, yes, visuals are important. Like I am one of those people that really believes in like having a truly aesthetic brand and it really makes a difference. It gives people a whole different perspective about who you are. And I think there are ways to balance between having like a very curated brand that doesn't show who you are and having like a really messy brand. There's like an in between where you can
Yeah.
kind of show yourself, but also have like a brand that really looks like you.
So what do you tell people who are like, I posted, I made my social media post and I still am not getting any clients. Like I did it. Or they're like, oh yeah, I made a post and I'm just gonna sit in the salon all day until somebody decides to walk in because they saw my name. Like, what do you tell those people about
Yeah,
social?
I think that there's because we're all looking at each other. I think
Mm-hmm.
that there are a lot of hairstylists who come into this industry and are watching these big creators and they think that it just like happened.
Yeah.
Like those big creators have been around for what, like a decade now, when Instagram was really easy to grow on.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they didn't deserve it, but like Instagram was really easy to grow on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's really hard to grow on Instagram. And so I think that it's if somebody were to come to me and like say those things like, well, I'm posting or I'm not getting any clients or I'm waiting for them to come to me, I'd be like, this is not the career for you. Number one, like I'm too harsh.
No, perfect.
No,
Absolutely
I
perfect.
I think that there's a level of like tough love that has to happen
Mm.
because again, if you don't want to get clients, if you don't want to seek out business, go work at a chain salon. If you still want to do
Mm.
hair and don't want to do that, then you have to find a place where you that's not part of your livelihood, where people come to you. Because there are those places. And
Yeah.
again, I don't care where you work. I don't care what kind of hairstylist you are. Find the place that works the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
But like that to me is I don't think there is a way to avoid
Yeah.
marketing yourself in like today's industry. I just don't think there
Right.
is. And I actually just posted about this the other day of like, I know I have to create content, but okay, but what's the content? Like, what's the purpose? Like just
Mm-hmm.
posting a pretty picture, like there is room for that, but it can't be with a thing you're doing all the time.
Right.
Like, is this pushing somebody to be like, oh, like I have that problem. Like I need what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it telling a story? This is something that I think every single hairstylist should be doing more of is like storytelling behind the brand. Tell me about this client and this process and what you did. I want to see what's happening in your brain. Like that's the kind of stuff that people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're creating a brand that's like a physical product or education, I want to see when shit goes wrong and
Yeah.
how you figure it out. I want to see all of the behind the scenes. I want to see the prototypes. I want to see the emails back and forth with the different countries, and I want to see all of the stuff. And that's what people are watching. And if you look at like, if we switch over to like TikTok, people that are successful on TikTok are literally they're sharing their lives with us, right? They're creating their own little mini TV series. And I'm not saying you have to share everything, but people want to see what's happening behind the scenes. They want to see what you're doing, but it has to all connect back to like, what are you trying to make happen? If you're trying to get people in your chair, then share the transformations that you create and tell us how it happened and give us the story of the clients that come to you. I think the stylists that are sharing like consultations are doing it right. I feel like people really want to hear from the client, and you have to like put people in the seat and make them feel like they're experiencing what it's like in your salon. There's a point where like the budget doesn't matter. If people really want something, they'll come and get it, but they have to feel like it's worth it first. They have to feel like there's value there. And if you're just posting hair pictures, like I know that this is like broken record at this point, but like the hair pictures or like the pretty end results, I can get that anywhere. There's a lot of really talented hairstylists in every city, right? There's a lot of talented hairstylists, but like what's making it special? What are you doing that is different? And like, are you taking me along for the ride? I think that's at the end of the day, I want you to take me along the journey of like getting them to this point.
Yeah. Like, why should I pick you? No, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's also this part, I think, of us as like human beings. It's like, I don't want to have to convince people to like come to me. And I'm like, okay, friend. Well, like, yes, but you are in business. Like you are like, I'm not telling you that you have to compete with anybody, but there is always competition. You're not in competition with them, but there's always going to be somebody else. There's always going to be another hairstylist that can probably give them a similar result. So you do have to, like this whole business thing where you're like running a business, it's like you always are convincing people. You're always trying to tell them like why you're the one they should pick. And so I think that people have to get that out of like, they have to let go of that. Well, I don't want to convince anybody to like me. Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you then.
Yeah, like good luck paying your bills this month.
I mean, yeah.
No, but that's a very good point. No, but that's a very good point because it is a fine line, right? You got to convince people, but you can't take it personal when they don't pick you. You have to prove yourself, but know your value and who you are if somebody doesn't go with you. Like it's a very fine line, but you have to do it. No one's going to toot your horn. Like you have to do it.
Yeah.
No
one's going to care about your brand more than you. No one's going to care about your business more than you. And if you don't care, like I can't care if you don't. I mean, I can try to care. I think other people can try to care, but like if you don't care about this brand that you're trying to build, and not everybody wants the same kind of brand. I think that there's also a misconception of like, if I'm building a brand, I want to build an empire. Like that's not necessarily the case. Your brand has to be focused around your specific goals. And there's all kinds of different brands. There's all different levels of brands. And so you have to find what works for you. And that's again why I think it's so important for hairstylists not to like try to mimic other hairstylists, because you don't know what their goals are. You don't know why they're choosing those things. And if you're just like picking a font off Pinterest and picking a Canva template and throwing them together and being like, okay, I did it. Like it's going to look nice, hopefully, but it's not going to do a lot. And I think that's the problem.
Everything with intention and purpose. Yeah, that's good. What is the biggest insult that you have ever gotten that you're so proud of?
Biggest insult that I've ever gotten that I'm proud of.
Like that is your motivating insult. Like you're just so happy you got that and you're like, yeah, watch this.
I think that, again, I guess I could get like, I'll go back to my like personal life. I think that there were a lot of people that tried to make me feel like I wasn't worth it. I wasn't going to find success. And I mean, I'm sure you can figure out who this person is. But like I like when I became a single mom, like I had blinders on. Like I
Yeah.
have to build this life. I have to do this thing. And
Yeah.
and there were a lot of people. There was one person telling me a lot that
That
like
one guy, it's always
that
the
like
men. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, and it listen, but he was really, for a long time, that voice in my head was like, maybe you're not, like maybe he's right, like maybe you're not going to do this, like maybe this isn't the thing. And there was so much time was spent like constantly trying to fight against
Yeah.
that. And then I
Yeah.
got to a point where like my daughter and I both were like, I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at my life and then look at yours. And then
Mm-hmm.
you tell me who won. Like, you tell me if
Yeah.
this is a competition, you tell me who won in the end.
Yeah.
And that to me was like the aha moment where all of this time being told that I wasn't good enough, that like I was never going to find success or love or happiness or whatever it was, because it was always about control, right? It's always about
Mhm.
holding you down. And
Yeah.
so you don't, so you stay small.
Yeah.
And there was a time where my daughter and I were just like, I don't think we're losing here. Like, I don't think we're the ones I don't think we're the problem.
Right.
And so I think that was a huge catalyst for me to just like, again, be happy in my own life and happy in my
Yeah.
own skin. And there's always times where you're going to like doubt yourself or you like second guess yourself. I think that's just human nature. But
Mhm.
to me, when I was able to let go of what that person thought of me, that was like my whole life changed. Like literally my whole life changed.
Mhm.
And I think that throughout my career, I've been kind of labeled like a hard ass or like
Mhm.
bitchy. I have a really direct communication style. I'm a little sarcastic and I do believe in tough love. I feel like if this is something you want, if you really want success, if you really want to grow, then you have to know what it really takes. And it's not easy. Like if it
Mhm.
was easy, everybody would be doing it. And not
Mhm.
everybody is doing it well. So
Yeah.
um I think that I think for a long time I was trying to fight again. I was being like extra nice to people, overly like over communicating to make sure that I didn't
Mhm.
come off as bitchy or I didn't come off too sarcastic. And I worked in an industry where like at the top it was all men at the top. Even if
Oh.
my direct boss was a woman, like it was we were always reporting up to a man. And there was always this, it was just different. You know, the
Yeah.
industry at that time so different.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
mean,
it's changed a lot. It has changed a
yeah,
lot. Yeah.
and it's changed in a lot of good ways. I think
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that have stuck around that we could
Mhm.
probably hopefully kick to the curb. But I think that being in working in corporate America where you're always reporting to a man is just it's such a it's such a female experience, right? Like it's such a like everybody has a story, right? Where
Yeah.
they like were kind of at the mercy of like their success was kind of at the mercy of another man. And I think that being my own boss and creating my own way and being able to say like no, I'm only going to work with these kinds of people, like
Mhm.
I want to work with women in this industry that want to find success. I want women to have financial freedom because with
Mhm.
financial freedom literally everything else, all of your problems go away if you
Yeah.
have financial freedom. I want you to be able to leave that shitty boyfriend. I want you to
Yeah.
be able to make choices in your life when you have hard choices to make. Like, I want you to have the career that you really love, even if it's
Mhm.
hard. It's always going to be hard, but I
Mhm.
want you to feel passionate about that thing that you are getting paid to do. Um, and I want you to feel fulfilled. Like, all of those things are
Yes.
really important to me because I think in an industry where there's just so many women, and I mean, I think the average income for a hairstylist is still like under $50,000 a year. Like that, nobody is surviving off of that anymore. Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're a single woman, I mean, that's like it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want women to feel like they have to get married or have to have a partner in order to survive. Like I really want women to be able to find something that and build something for themselves that can sustain their goals and
Yeah.
make them feel fulfilled because
I
life is
love
really
that.
hard right now and sometimes and like it's really hard to not feel just like overwhelmed by everything. And so at the end of the day, like I just really want women to feel empowered to like do their own thing.
Yeah.
And so creating my own business that was a really big part of it, was that I wanted to be able to say no to the things I wanted to say no to.
Yeah.
And I want the same for like hairstylists in this industry.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is
Girl power.
very totally. It's totally girl power, but it's like it's so much more than that too. It's just
Yeah.
like know who you are and don't settle for anything less. Like you know what you're capable of. So find other people who can
Yeah.
complement that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all
Absolutely.
about that. I am all about that. So with all of this, working in the industry, having that experience in corporate America, right?
Yes.
What is the one lesson that you have learned being in the beauty industry that you wish those guys, those CEOs, that the postman, the lawyers, all that, what is the lesson that you wish they would just get?
That women hold this industry up, that
Yeah.
women, I mean, I'm serious, like
Yeah.
the amount of times, and listen, there's a lot of really great male
Yeah.
hairstylists. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
no shade. I mean, there's a lot of really
Mhm.
shitty ones, but there's a lot of really great ones. And I think that number one, I think the really good men in this industry need to hold the bad men accountable more. I think that for sure is what I would love to see happen. But I think the people that make the big choices, and it's always like, who are you picking these artists for? Are you picking these artists because you're like buddies with them, or
Mhm.
you feel like it's like a bro code kind of thing? Or are you picking the women in this industry that are really holding it up? To me, I
Mm.
think that there's a lot of companies that are kind of always on this hamster wheel, Groundhog Day of like doing the same things. I just had this conversation the other day with somebody about a brand that we both worked at, and we had like put all of these things into place. And then they just announced that they were like wiping it all and like going back to the way things were before. And then we were like,
Wow.
okay, cool. That's great. I
Yeah.
think that big
Wow, that
companies,
hurts. That hurts.
it does, but it's also like, yeah, like of course the big companies are going to stay where they are. Like they're going to stay in the same place because it's impossible to make change in big companies. It takes forever. It's like shifting the Titanic. And so I think it's comfortable for them to do the same things because
Yeah.
like then it's easy. And the guys at the top don't have to think about anything if it's just the same. So I wish that more women were given opportunities that are given to male artists. It always seems to be the
Mhm.
same male artists.
Mhm.
And sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes the choices made don't make a lot of sense to me. And I just think there's so many women, there's so many Black women, there's so many women of color, there's so many non-binary, like there's so many people in this industry that are just like busting their ass every day. And
Yeah.
I wish that more people had more opportunity. I think the guys in the industry have had a lot of opportunity, and I think maybe they should make some room for
Yeah, yeah,
other
yeah.
people.
It's almost kind of like yes, it's definitely like diversify it, but
Hmm.
it's also like political correctness too. Like let's just mix it up. Like let's like
Yeah.
law, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that that's part of it, is sometimes you see teams and it's like, oh, okay, so they picked a Black artist, they picked a Hispanic artist, they
Oh
picked a
yeah.
white artist, they picked a man. And it's like, I just want to like, do these people make sense for what you're doing?
Right.
Like, would you pick a haircutting specialist to like be on an artistic team for a product company that like doesn't do haircutting? Probably
Oh,
not. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
that does
Those are
not
the
make
things that
sense.
I think about. Is
No,
like I watch
but that's your branding mind. Like you just
it.
go there and you're like, "Mm, that's not
Yeah,
a
and I
correct
think,
story."
well, and I think that you think about like, I don't know, this happened last year, I think, when Schwarzkopf came out with that like very pornographic brand or marketing campaign. And like I am by no means a prude, but I was like, ew, like this just isn't, it's not Schwarzkopf. It's not what you expect from
Right.
that brand. And when you have told people who you are through your brand, when you're a legacy brand like that, like doing something like that is obviously like it's obviously a choice, right? They were trying to
Mm.
shake things up, they were trying to do things differently, but like, was
Like
it the
try
right
again.
move?
Yeah, try again.
I think you should try again. And it's maybe, and yeah. I could say a lot more, but I'm gonna
No,
stop.
it's totally fine. It is totally fine. You're just showing your authority. I do see you as an authority in this field, and you gotta speak your mind, you know? I'm totally
Yeah,
here for it.
I have a lot of opinions, and sometimes I keep them to myself.
It's okay. It's okay. So with that, what do you have going on that people can get involved with you, your business, your brand? Like, what's going on? How do people connect?
So much is going on. Obviously I'm always booking for one-on-one clients. We can work together on branding, web design, marketing. We can really do anything creative that you need in your business. I probably know somebody who can help you do it. I'm working on a lot of like branding shoots right now, which is super fun because I love expanding that part of the creative process. But I also this year launched my own online community called So On Brand. And I love that name came out of nowhere because I'm a Valley girl. I've lived in Southern California my whole life, and like So On Brand just sounded so right to me. So On Brand is the name of my online community, and you can join at the link in my Instagram bio. You can also check it out. There's a page on my website, which is it's NicoleNixon.com. And, we in that community, basically what I'm trying to do is give you a little extra access to me. We talk about visual identity, we do Q&As, we do like fun mood boards of the month where I will kind of create a brand and put together a mood board and talk you through my process. Really, it's just like a little tiny extra piece of my brain that you don't get through like Instagram or TikTok or the other places you might find me. So it's super fun. You should come hang out. It's totally free. There's also like a little classroom that has some fun downloadables that will help you kind of like figure out your brand vision. There's also some things that you can purchase if you choose, but that's, if you want, that's great. But yeah, it's totally free and you can come hang out and you can ask me all the things you want.
Yeah, I love that. I'm joining. I'm
Yay, come hang
joining.
out.
Yes, I
Come get
will.
so on brand.
So on brand. I love it. I love it. The link to this is in the show notes, so make sure you go
Oh,
check it
amazing.
out. Oh yes.
Thank you for that.
And then time is flying. So what's a question that you wish I would have asked you that I did not, and how would you have answered?
Oh,
It could be
geez.
anything, personal, professional, it doesn't matter.
Um, oh, I don't know. I think you asked me a lot of really good questions. Maybe you could have asked me, um, oh my God, I like have nothing. I am blank. You could have asked me about my experience at like what I learned from working for big brands when it comes to because I focused
Ooh.
on education and how I translated that into my business now.
Yeah, what a good question. Okay.
Okay, now I am supposed to answer it, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So when I worked like predominantly for my when I worked as a full-time employee at hair product companies, I worked in education. And so I did everything from trade shows. I managed our educator network. I did curriculum writing. I did trainings. Like I literally did all of the things that you could
Mm,
do in education. And so shifting from education to branding, some people were like, that's not the same thing at all. And I was like, well, it's kind of the same highway. It's just a different lane. Like at
yeah.
the when you're working in education, you're trying to create tools for hairstylists so that they can grow their skills, they can learn something new, hopefully they can expand their income, save time. Like there's all kinds of reasons why you teach something, right? And so
Mm,
for me, moving into branding was like this is another thing that's going to help a hairstylist build their business.
mhm.
No, it's not exactly the same. Like it's not technical education, but I'm still providing a resource and insight and my experience in working for these big brands and how you can take the things that big brands do and use them in your own business.
Yeah.
So I really do feel like it's still very much education. It's still very much like being a resource for hairstylists. It's just maybe not the same exact topic.
No, I like
I did
that.
it.
And I definitely love that 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 metaphor that you use, it's the same highway. It's not or what is it? It's the same highway, just
Oh,
a different lane.
yes.
That's exactly. I feel like that's the case for a lot of things. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Oh my goodness, Nicole, thank you.
This was so fun.
It was fun. Like, I love talking and connecting with people, and we always like talk about some crazy things, but I was over here like I was in school. I was learning, and I appreciate you.
Well, good. I mean, I know a lot of crazy things about a lot of people in the industry, so it's probably a good thing we
Girl,
get to
you
talk
tell me
about crazy
after.
things.
You tell me after we hit like stop recording, okay? Anyways, for everybody watching, listening on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, thank you. You can follow Nicole. All of her links are going to be in the show notes, and go join her community. And I will talk to you guys next time.
If you loved this episode, subscribe to the BeautyPro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bringing the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The BeautyPro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.